Yes, people. What is going on? It's G, and we're back in the damn building, guys. Please make sure now that you are locked in, now that you are subscribed to the channel, please make sure that you have smashed that like button. I know I don't even have to ask you guys to smash that subscribe button if you haven't done so already, because I know say you've done that already. So today, what are we here to talk about? You guys can see it up on the screen. Ivan Toney, the Brentford, England striker. Hot topic, hot news. You know what I mean? He is the one of the most talked about players in the Premier League over the last year. Fantastic player for Brentford ever since coming to the Premier League. We all know about his championship season with Brentford prior to coming to the Premier League. And since he's come to the Premier League, he has taken it level by level. He has even surprised me. And say that is going to be a big thing because, yeah, it's hard to surprise me. It's hard to surprise me, but he's been able to do so. Today, just going to talk quickly about what would his best move be. People in the comment section, let me know what you guys think. Fans of Manchester United, your Liverpools, Chelsea's, Tottenham, Arsenal's, Man City, Borussia Dortmund, whoever, let me know, of course, what you guys are thinking. Should he join your club? And if not, which club do you think he should join? But you know what? Let's just get into it.
Now you know I'm coming through. When the growth look good on you, best believe they wanna screw now. I've been trying to climb, devil threw me in the dark. Baby, don't be insecure, you can still go make a mark like blow. Could never let them drain my soul now. Blow. Table turning like doorknobs, wow. Blow. I think I'm about to set sail. I'm a walking, living legend, walking with my chest out. Life keep dealing me cards, I keep feeling it.
My people, what is going on? G, we're back in the building. Intro was long enough, so of course, if you haven't watched it or you haven't heard it, just rewind a couple minutes back. You'll hear what today's show is about. But for those who have just or who has just tuned in, today we're here to talk about Ivan Toney. Yes. Like everybody else, I am bored of talking just about Liverpool. Sometimes we do need a bit of a switch up. Sometimes it's just about how about we just see what everyone else is saying. You know what I mean? And of course we have got those other channels that do so. And big up to all those channels out there who do focus quite a lot on the neutral base in terms of looking at everything. But I kind of want to talk too. You know what I mean? Why can't I do it? Do you know what I mean? Why can't I do it? But as I mentioned before, we're talking about Ivan Toney. What's the best move for him? What's the play? I mean, what's the play for Ivan Toney? Very, very good striker. Like I said in the intro, he's someone who has surprised me. I know some people are going to turn around and be like, nah, I always knew he was going to be sick and cool, fair enough. Then, I mean, Mr. Megs and them and them people there, then fair enough. I mean, I can't really say too much to that. But yeah, for me, the reason why I think scored, I think it was 31 goals in the championship for Brentford in the season that they came up. I'm sure at the time broke the record. I'm sure someone's broken that. I feel it was Mitrovic. Broken that ever since. But either way, he did have the record. And he was just bossing it. Obviously, he's played for Scunthorpe. He's played on loan at Wigan. Used to formerly play for Newcastle. Has actually played in the Premier League. Prior to this, Scunthorpe and all of these kind of different type of clubs. He's done the traveling thing. And then of course made his way to Brentford Football Club. Spent some time there, and of course, since then he's just gone from strength to strength. Really good player. We'll take a look at just a couple of stats that they put towards Ivan Toney towards the back end of last season. Of course, we know the whole betting situation. He's only just come back on his debut. Should I say debut? His return to football. Scored a goal for Brentford. So at the moment, he's got 100% record so far this season. 1 game, 1 goal. I know that's not going to continue, or will it? But he is a very good striker, and a lot of teams might be able to use him. Now, today, I'm only going to really focus on the Premier League teams. That's not to say that there's not other teams out there. you know, like your foreign teams, like your Borussia Dortmund, as I mentioned before. Napoli, if they were to let go of Osimhen, Juventus look like I feel like they just might need a striker. Heck, you never know. Inter Milan might let go of Martinez and say, you know what, Toney might be someone we could use. You know, there's so many different types of teams that, like, I don't know. Do you get what I'm trying to say? He could go anywhere, in my personal opinion. And considering when we take a look at strikers in a general sense, I always feel like in this current setup right now, if you was to go through like a list of top class strikers, forget world class, because world class is just Kane and Haaland. So cool, those are the only two world class strikers, in my opinion. Now we are looking at the next brand of strikers. So it is going to be strikers you would consider to be top class strikers. Would you put Toney in that bracket? Maybe. Maybe, because then I mean after that, then they're saying, "Oh no, it's just a good striker." So maybe you might. I'm not really. I'm not sure. I might put him in there, but like at near the kind of middle to lower end of things. I wouldn't put him at like the top of top class brackets and be like, yeah, he's like one step away from world class. I don't know yet, but again, am I just thinking that purely out of consistency? Am I just thinking because, you know, 2 seasons at the top level with Brentford? Do I need to see more? Like, I don't even really know. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, because he has a lot about him that could turn him into what we would probably deem to be a world-class striker. It's very similar to Harry Kane, in my personal opinion, in terms of they like to be brought into play at times, but then can also do the lone man thing. You know, the one up front, no one's really passing you the ball, and you're just here to put the ball in the back of the net. You know, but sometimes they can occupy defenders, drop into, you know, the attacking midfield position where they've got the runners on either side. So Mbuemo and whoever else on the other side for Vissa, potentially at times, you know, for Brentford. So yeah, I don't know. You guys let me know in the comment section, like, where would you place someone like an Ivan Toney? Because I feel like that would be quite an interesting one to see how people kind of view him and, you know, stuff like that. But when we look at, I'll take a quick look here, look at his heat map. This is for last season. Of course, he's only played one game this season, so I couldn't really there was a heat map, but I didn't want to do that to him. You can see someone who does pull off to the left-hand side in those forward areas. Again, I feel like he does that quite a lot to create that space for the other players. So again, more so that someone like an Mbuemo can then kind of come inside into those central areas, because then he can affect play. And then, of course, like I said, when you have got like a Vissa there to be able to play, again, two players with relative pace, if I'm being, well, Mbuemo definitely, you know, has that pace, but just in a, would I say, somewhat general kind of sense, they have got enough pace. Neil Maupay, we know he'll probably potentially come in. You know, you got Roslev as well. Yeah, they got a few players in there who can obviously play on that wing or in those forward areas for Brentford, and I feel like he does all of that to create the space for everybody. You know, aerial duels, this guy is on it. I think, was there that game he played against Arsenal? Was it last season? Saliba didn't even get a kick in that game. You know, fantastic performance. That was one of the more standout performances from a player, individual player of the season that I saw anyway last season. Again, link up play, really, really good. And we're not even getting onto his finishing, because his finishing is really, really good. I'll show you guys the stats of his time for Brentford before we start, you know, before we get into, you know, looking at what kind of teams he could or couldn't potentially go to. Let's look at his overall stats, actually. Overall stats. So, of course, and big up Jerry. I think he was talking about this the other day. I'm gonna say it was the other day. But yeah, you guys can see it here. 125 games for Brentford, 69 goals, 21 assists, 27 yellow cards. That's a lot. Peterborough, and before he moved obviously to Brentford, fantastic record there. 94 games, 49 goals, 15 assists. I know we all care about assists for some reason for strikers, but, you know, I'm just throwing those in. 60 games for Northampton, 13 goals, 6 assists. Scunthorpe, 35 games, 15 goals, 1 assist. Wigan, 28, 6 and 4. Shrewsbury Town, 26 games, 7 and 7. Barnsley, 21 games, 2 and 2. And then Newcastle, he's played 4 games for the senior team, but for the under 21s, played 9 games for them, scoring 5 and assisting in 3. And you can see there, if I just scroll that down a little bit for you guys to see, this is obviously his record in the Premier League, and that is 69 matches with 33 goals and 9 assists. Decent record, man. decent record. We're going to do the goals and assisting because I feel like that's what everyone always focuses on. So you got, what's that, 42 goals and assists in 69 matches. You know, it's pretty decent. It's pretty decent. That's why I don't put him in that. I know I'm not trying to say you have to have a 1-in-1 record as a striker because 1-in-2 is fantastic. But I look at that as more. I just think maybe a couple more, maybe another season in the Premier League. This is why this season was so important for him to obviously have been playing Premier League football from the beginning up until now, because it would have been interesting to see how many goals he would have at this kind of point. Obviously, we can still see come towards the end of the season. I don't think he's going to move in January. I think Brentford are asking for quite a lot of money. So I don't feel like another club is going to want to necessarily pay that, but I don't know. Who knows? Chelsea might come in there, 100 mil, here you go, take it, boom, bam, bim. Don't want Osherman, then cool. You know what I mean? Bob's your uncle. Arsenal, I know Arsenal fans want a striker. I feel like I read something about Mikel Arteta potentially prioritizing a defender in this January as opposed to looking at getting a forward in, because he feels that maybe his options in the summer might be, a lot better than they are now, just of course because of money, FFP, and all these type of things there. And then of course you've still got the Liverpools, the Tottenhams, and the Manchester United, who I don't. Tottenham maybe again, they're another club potentially. Funny that people talk about since Harry Kane left, Tottenham look like they're playing better and blah 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 and this that and the other. And one, that's facts. They are playing a lot better. That's not because they miss Harry. That's not because Harry Kane left though. Don't get it twisted. If Harry Kane was here under Ange, yeah, Tottenham would be a problem this season. They're already kind of a nuisance as it is. Very, very good team this season. You know what I mean? And fantastic players. They just seem to have a new lease of life under this new manager, the way that they're playing. But let's not get twisted. If you had Harry Kane, yeah, you know what I mean? Son's good, and Son is one of those players that you're just like, you wish you had him on your team. But there's levels. There's real levels. There's Harry Kane and there's Son. They're not on the same level. They don't eat at the same table. I promise you that for free. I'm pretty sure, I don't know off the top of my head, I'm pretty sure Tottenham fans would say the same. But if they don't, they need to get their head a wobble, because we're talking about two different levels of players. But Son is but that just more testament to the fact that Harry Kane is such a fantastic player, in that regard. So, yeah, they could be another team. And Liverpool's Liverpool. Yeah, Liverpool's Liverpool. At the end of the day, got 5 attackers. Maybe one of those is world class. The other ones are okay. Okay kind of thing. None of them are real strikers. Do you know what I mean? I think that Liverpool don't have a natural striker in the team. So who knows? Maybe if someone leaves, there might be an open up a space. I don't think Liverpool will go for that kind of deal, but it'll be interesting to see, in the future, what that might potentially might look like. If we take a look here, we can see, in recent times, since I think just before he did come back, he was talking a lot in regards to, him wanting to play for a top club and, all of these kind of things. And you can see here, I think it's obvious I want to play for a top club. Everyone knows that Toney wants to leave and he wants to go to a bigger club. I don't think that's a secret. I don't feel like that's something that he's ever tried to, would I say, necessarily hide from anybody. I think he's been quite honest. I know I see and I hear a lot of people getting onto him and, oh, right, how can Toney say this? And, boom, bam, bim. And I'm like, but ultimately, we sit here 1 minute and say, players, we wish they were a bit more honest, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. But then when they are honest, he's being disrespectful. Oh, how can he be so disrespectful to my team? I'm thinking, I don't understand. I don't really get it. I mean, this is obviously his record for Brentford since coming to the Premier League. As I mentioned, has played for Newcastle United beforehand. Actually played 2 games in the Premier League for Newcastle. His first season back in the Premier League with Brentford, 33 games, 12 goals for him. Next season, 33 games, 20 goals. So in the same amount of games, he's now up in that goal tally. Things that I would love to see from my own type of striker. In terms of, if you're going to play, let's say you play the same amount of games and need to see more goals in that following season, or like remain at a consistent basis kind of thing. And obviously, of course, he's done that. And again, it's a type of play that he is anyway. I think that for me is, would I say, more key more than anything. I think, like I said, he is very, very similar to a Harry Kane in what he can do, the way his hold-up play. If I even show you guys this, which is, I didn't even know, like, I didn't even see this from before. There we go. Cool. So obviously this is Sky Sports. Jamie Carragher, obviously, I think he was just talking about how similar Ivan Toney is to a Harry Kane. So obviously these are the stats from the 22-23 season. You guys can see that. Yep, so obviously this is from Sky Sports. 27 matches, 24 played at the time. 20 goals for Kane, 16 for Toney. 1,022 touches, 1,049 touches for Kane. Big chances created. Actually, Toney was creating more big chances, which I did find quite astonishing at that time. Passes attempted, they're almost fairly close. Through balls attempted, they're level. Balls won in the middle third, level. Balls won in the final third. Toney then, wins that battle. And again, like I mentioned before, very similar in the way that they play. If you look at both of their the maps of touches and events that they're having on the pitch and the areas that they're having these events on the pitch, you can see that left hand side for Toney. If I just click that there, let me even zoom that in. You can see for Toney on this side here, 183 on that left hand side. And then, of course, Harry Kane 114. And again, of course, Kane in the middle is where he's getting his next, his most amount of touches is in the middle. But then on that left hand side as well, he is quite a handful. And again, like I said, just very similar in certain aspects. I'm not saying he's as good. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to come and, shoot me down. You can see the pass received network from Toney, from the players obviously giving him the ball. There we go. Expected goals from set pieces. Last season he was way out in front. Crazy. That's such a crazy statistic. Now, I can't remember. I feel like Kane used to take free kicks. As if Kane was there like 10 years ago, like I'm not going to remember. I'm sure Kane used to take free kicks them sides. But anyways, expected goals from set pieces. Toney was way out in front, 5.36. Harry Kane second, 3.79. And again, Gabriel from Arsenal, very good. He's even up there with, again, Fabian Schär, Joe Linton. It's actually quite astonishing seeing some of these players actually on this list, but the top two being Ivan Toney and Harry Kane. So again, showing that he's a danger from set pieces, whether it be on taking it or in the box for corners and free set pieces that he might not be taking. Again, I genuinely believe he'd be an absolute useful asset for any team, really. Any team who really, I feel, is going to go out and sign him, then yeah, let me know in the comment section which team you think could potentially sign him or which team you think fits him, the best. I think we'll start off, we'll take a look at a couple of teams I took a look at, and then we'll see which team, of course, potentially fits him the best. So if I just click this, who should we go with first? All right, let's go with this one. Manchester United. Now, you can obviously see I've put Toney there. Can we see him at a Manchester United? Do we think he would do well at a Manchester United? Do we think that being at Manchester United would be the best thing for him? Now, of course, they've got Marcus Rashford there. Martial, but I think his contract is running out at the end of this season. They've still got Garnacho, of course, who plays on the wing. Anthony plays on the wing. Højlund up front. Are they missing that striker? Are they missing that player? That one player to just kind of come in and it's like, yo, bad boy in the building. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like you can see here, I put him. this isn't the team I necessarily think they would play. I just made, it was a team that was kind of already generated. Manchester United, don't kill me. If you're going to play certain players in other positions, then do that. I don't really care. But this was just a quick mock-up in terms of where I think he could potentially play. And of course, he's going to play up front, but who might be in and around him? Having Rashford, Fernandes, and Garnacho. We know that Fernandes actually does create a lot of chances. That is one thing I will say about Fernandes. Above everything else, he creates a lot of chances. Now, a player that's creating all of these chances, do you get what I'm trying to say? Like that's something to be... There's something to be said within that, if I'm being, 100% honest with you. So yeah, like I said, I think it is one of those things when it does come to like a Bruno Fernandes. And of course, you got Marcus Rashford there, Mr. Hot and Cold. One season, he's banging in 25, 30 goals in all competitions. And then the next season, he's not really doing too well. Garnacho is still young, still doing his thing, young ball. Trying to come up in the game and, show everybody, kind of what he's all about. And of course, they still do have Højlund in the team. And I'm not trying to say, I think a lot of Manchester United fans that I had spoken to when they were speaking about you know, another striker. Now, this is obviously during a period of time when they wanted like a Harry Kane and stuff like that, or potentially even an Osherman. They didn't mind someone like a Hoyland coming in. I don't think that was ever an issue. I think for me, the main issue for them was they didn't just want it to just be a Hoyland. Now, problem you got is that Martial is a senior player there. He's been there for a minute. Do you know what I'm trying to say? He's also getting on with time. He's a senior player at that football club. He should be the one to potentially guide someone like a Hoyland. But excuse me, with everything that's kind of going on with him and not knowing what's going on and Wagwan and, you know, all of that kind of bullshit, it's kind of tricky. So they do need that almost, I feel, senior striker to be able to come in and just kind of, you know what I mean, just show Hoyland the ropes for a couple of seasons, play second fiddle, potentially play as a two together. Who knows? Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, things can potentially change with the formations. And of course, depending on manager and, you know, all of these kind of, you know, various different things. So yeah, I think he could be an option for Manchester United. Let me know out of 10 obviously being a not dead, sir. 10 being a fantastic option for Manchester United and for him. And 1 being, nah, this ain't the move, bro. Like, this ain't the one. I'll give this one a out of 10. I would give this one. Problem is, you go to Manchester United, that's where their dreams die, bro. That is exactly where dreams go to die. So like, on that side, I think I'm like 2. But in terms of for what they potentially need and having a striker, someone who can hold up play, bring other players into play, you know, physical, you know, can handle himself in the Premier League, isn't going to take too much time to get accustomed to Premier League football, just more the style and play. I'll give it a 5. I'll give it a 5. I think 5, yeah, 5 or 6, like between that. But I'll stick with, you know, 5.5. I'll give it a 5.5 for Manchester United, because I do think that having a striker like him might be a good option for them, because he is a good striker, and with the attributes that he's got, why can't he bring these other players into play? But then again, this is where their dreams go to die. So then I'm just like, do I really want him to go there and mess up his career? Not really, man. I'd rather you go somewhere else. If you're not going to come to Liverpool, then yeah, as I said, I'd rather you just go to somewhere else. But yeah, that's of course Manchester United. Let's take a look at the next team on the list. Who have we got? Just going to randomly pick, see who comes up. Who we got? Spurs. We have got Spurs. Now, Spurs, again, like I said, I don't want anyone to come at me and be like, bro, we don't play that way, and nah, we'll do this and we'll do that and blah, 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 blah. No. Don't worry about all of that. Don't worry about all of that. It's just, this was just to show you where he may potentially fit on a team. If you want to change out your own tactics, do you do that? I'm not a Tottenham fan. I couldn't give two about where he is going to play anyway if he came to your club, but it's just more to show the people. So Tottenham can, of course, potentially get someone like him. They have got Son, who is, of course, playing up front. Son, a fantastic player, as I mentioned before, but I do feel like Tottenham still want a natural striker, someone who really, I just think a different type of striker to maybe like Son. Not to say Son isn't doing the job there, because he is, but I just feel like they would need a different type of striker. And I look at this team here now. I don't know why it's got Gil playing in that right back position. Of course, it shouldn't be him. It should be Porro. But when I'm looking at it on the face of it, I am looking at it thinking, team would look all right. Like, I can't even lie. The team would definitely look all right if you had someone like a Toney up top, because you're still going to have Son on the left-hand side. Son ain't going nowhere. Kulusevski on the right-hand side. Maddison playing in behind Toney. What, feeding Bentancur and Basuma or Pape Sarr. Like, listen, I like Tottenham. I like Tottenham, man. I like them. I just never liked their fans when they thought they were something. Do you know what I mean? I just felt like they were getting a bit too big for your boots. Too big for your boots. But adding Toney to that, you know what? It could be that could be one that you could potentially look out for. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Especially because you've got Maddison there, who's a very, very good creator. And again, Son running off Toney holding up the ball on that left-hand side, Son running into the middle. Eesh, with Maddison there as well. Kulusevski as well. I've big up my left foot massive right there. Like I say, that could be a shout. I would give this one out of 10. I would give this one a I would give this one an 8. Give this one an 8, you know, because I don't feel like Tottenham, for where they're trying to head to anyway, I don't feel like they need too much. Of course, their fans, I'm assuming they'll probably mention things about depth and things like that. But even when I think about it, you think about all the injuries that they've had this season, and they've still been able to kind of keep pace with that top four battle. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So, you know, they're doing something right. They are doing something right. And I know they're still, you know, come the summer, they will still go out and sign other players for that depth, better quality players for that depth. Yeah, man, I think adding someone like Toney, I think that'll be a very good deal. And to be honest, having Richarlison on the bench isn't as bad as people make out. I like Richarlison. I actually think he's better than what he's showing at this current moment in time. And I think it's more of a time will tell thing with someone like him, or it will just completely he won't be that kind of guy. And you know, it is what it is. But yeah, I'm gonna go over 8. I'm gonna go with an 8 for Tottenham Hotspur. I think that'll be a somewhat decent move, you know, for him. Who should we go to next? Let's get up the next team then. Dun, 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 dun. Arsenal. Now, this is the one that's making, of course, the most amount of noise. This is the one that everyone thinks is almost like a formality that, yeah, he's just going to go to Arsenal, he's going to do his thing, and, you know, yada, yada, yada. That's a possibility. As I mentioned before, I do feel that Mikel Arteta probably would prioritize maybe getting in another defender. I think I read somewhere that they're potentially looking at getting in a defender who can play all across the back four, or fill in the multiple positions. Don't know who the hell that is, but, you know, they're going to try and find one of those players and then potentially readdress the situation in the summer. Whether that's a smart move, only time will tell. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, if they were to go on and win the league, no one's going to be talking about, oh, we need a striker. You'd be like, well, the players that we've got here are the ones, you know, who kind of did it. But I think that might be something to potentially look at. Now, I've obviously gone here. This is obviously one of the teams or some of the players, or if not their first 11, that they could play in this kind of formation. I know Partey, so maybe they might want to go 4-2-3-1, whatever. But this is just one I just kind of threw together. Of course, Martinelli, Toney, and Saka up top. Could you potentially, if a Saka or a Martinelli are not playing well, and Toney is, maybe you can throw Gabriel Jesus in there. Maybe Gabriel Jesus can play off that left-hand side. Seen him play off the wings for Manchester City on numerous occasions. So it's not even like it's alien to him. Again, the type of player that Jesus is, he's not one there. I think he even mentioned it himself in interview about not being there primarily and his focus being on the goals. You know, it is more about the team, and that's absolutely fine. We had Firmino do the same thing. Problem in Arsenal's team is that you ain't really got another killer there. Well, you haven't got a killer at all. Not looking at Toney and saying this guy is a killer, but I feel like he could turn into one at Arsenal because they do create a lot of chances. And I feel like Arsenal are missing that kind of presence up top in those kind of areas for those kind of battles where you've got a different type of striker, like in a Jesus and in an Eddie Nketiah. You know, players, Nketiah is even different to, you know, even different to Gabriel Jesus. You know, he's more off the cuff, you know, last man, you know, trying to run in behind, you know, he's a God loves a trier type of guy, you know, kind of thing. And he's got decent finishing, though. That's one thing I will say about Nketiah. He has got decent finishing. But of course, Jesus brings you that whole package. I feel like, well, I say a whole package, but maybe not in the finishing aspect. I feel like Toney might be able to bring them that whole package that they're looking for. And, you know, Toney's not slow, by the way. If he need him to run in behind, he can do that. But again, he's going to be more there to kind of, would I say, help out the Martinellis and the Sakas, you know what I mean? Bring them into play a bit more, but then also they'll be looking to him, putting those balls into the box. He's going to be deadly. He is deadly in the air, man. Like, honestly, like, I think he's very, very good in those kind of positions. So, again, that could be one place, you know, that he could potentially play. I would give this one... Arsenal's need for a striker. Would it work? They've already got Jesus. I'll give this one a 7. So I lower than the Tottenham one because I feel like Tottenham ain't got a striker though. Obviously, I know they got Son, but he's played on that left-hand side. Jesus has played on the wings, but not as consistently as, say, a Son has played on the wings. So it's a seamless kind of transition into that area. It'll just be more about his effectiveness in those kind of areas. I'll give it 7. I'll give it 7. Because there might still be question marks in terms of the profile of striker that Mikel Arteta, like all of them, to be fair. But I don't feel like the rest of the Manchester Uniteds and the Tottenhams, I don't feel like they're going to be too hung up on profile. as opposed to I feel like Arsenal almost need the perfect profile, whatever that is, which I have no idea, to be able to slot in. It could be Toney. I'm not saying it's not going to be. It could well be him, but yeah, it kind of remains to be seen. So I'll give that one a 7. I'll give that one a 7. I'll give that one a 7. We'll go to the next one. Who we got next on the list? Chelsea. Chelsea. Oh my God. I don't even know what to say about these guys. I'll be so real. Like, I actually don't even really know. Because I like some of the players that they've got. In fact, I like Chelsea's team as a whole. I like it a lot. Like, I like the fact that they've got a Cole Palmer in there. I like Raheem Sterling, Mudryk, Enzo. Don't know why it's got Gusto there, but they've got obviously Caicedo in there, Colwill, Disassi. Like, they got very likable players. Like, and I feel they've got a nucleus of a very, very good team for the future. They ain't going for right now, but they're going for the future. Maybe that is the end goal. Maybe Todd Bowley will be laughing in 2 years' time when he's saying, "Yeah, my team just won their 3rd Premier League title in a row," or in 4 or 5 years' time, should I say? When when Chelsea are winning, back to back trophies, doing the Mourinho all over again under Roman Abramovich. Maybe that might be his time. Because the type of players that he is signing, the Cole Palmers, the Nkunkus, the Mudryks, the Sterlings, and people of this kind of ilk, other than Sterling obviously being so experienced, the rest of them are quite young. And I feel like he is trying to mix and blend them with the, Thiago Silvas, as I mentioned, with the Sterlings, like those type of players, the Chilwells, the Cucureas, all these kind of, would I say, experienced kind of players. Maybe they're trying to do a mix and blend. Do I think Toney could fit into that? Obviously, he's here playing in front of a Cole Palmer. They've got Nicholas Jackson already, and Nkunku, of course, I believe he is potentially injured. And guys, please don't take note. I know it's got Gusto there. It should be Caicedo. I just couldn't be bothered to change it. I'll be real. I'll give this one a 6 because I almost feel like it falls into that Manchester United kind of bracket of you almost go here. This is where the dreams go to die at times. But you could use a striker like this. I just don't think it's going to be the best option for him. And maybe they're looking at a different type of striker. Maybe they are looking for like an Osherman or something like that. And of course, with what Toney brings to the team, I mean, they create chances. Enzo creates chances. Mudryk, Sterling, Palmer. Palmer gets goals and he creates chances. Maybe it's too harsh. Nah, I'll go 6.5 then. I'll go 6.5. I just think that maybe I just don't know if it'll be a good move for him. Like I said, it's that Manchester United kind of thing of just you go there to die, man. You go there to die. So I'm just not really gonna be 100% honest. But guys, as I mentioned in the chat, let me know exactly what you guys think. And last but not least, we had to save the best to last. Do you know what I mean? We had to do that for the people then. And that is, of course, Liverpool fan, I believe. He's a Liverpool fan. I think he's mentioned in a podcast and in an interview before about sorry, I got an itch there. About if Liverpool were to come calling and rare tear. Toney at Liverpool. I think that would be a very good idea. Because then I believe it would then create this kind of Liverpool would then have an out and out striker, which I feel like is very important for the way that Liverpool play in a general sense, because I feel we play in a way as if we thought that you'd think we'd have a natural out and out striker, but the reality is we don't. So you are kind of left in that position where you're then trying to get your Diogo Jotas, your Nunez's, your Gakpos, your Diaz's, these kind of guys, of course, because Salah's there and he's obviously the main guy, but you're trying to get those kind of players to be able to, almost fulfill that role of, can you get me enough goals? Because not all the time Salah's going to be available. But because Salah is that main man, it is like sometimes it doesn't really matter. And as we've seen with this season for Liverpool, it doesn't really matter that, Salah is, of course, the main guy, because at the end of the day, Liverpool are still scoring goals, still winning games of football. The Nunez, 10 in 10 goals, 10 assists. Jota, how many goals has he got this season? Salah, how many goals has he got this season? It's only really Gakpo and Diaz that are maybe lacking behind in that kind of respect potentially. And I think Gakpo's got quite a few goals in the Carabao Cup, but goals nonetheless. So yeah, I don't feel like Liverpool would see this as a necessity, so to speak. I would love to see him here because I would love to have him, as part of the Liverpool team. I mean, people say, "Who would you let go?" I don't know. Take your pick, man. Anyone bar Salah and Jota, then I'm kind of good with. And Jota, I probably would even think about it, to be honest with you, just purely out of the fact that this guy's injury record ain't really too cushy. It ain't really too cushy, to be honest with you, and yeah, I'd much rather have someone who isn't as injury prone and can still probably deliver the same amount as a Jota anyway in that same position. But that's worst come scenario in that kind of sense. Otherwise, Diaz or Nunes can bounce for like a. To be honest with you, I don't care how much bloody chaos and how many flicks and tricks you can do. Yeah, I want this, and if it means that I have to sacrifice a pawn for a king, yeah, I'm good. But yeah, that's kind of how I would see it. But again, I don't feel that Liverpool would do that. I don't think Klopp would do that. I don't think Klopp would look to sign him. I think he only would have signed him if, let's say Nunes had a whack season this season, or Diaz was to go and someone else was to go. Then I think maybe we'd look at it differently. But I don't see that happening, especially Liverpool doing so well this season so far. If Liverpool going to win the Premier League, yeah, I definitely don't even see, the team. I don't even see us making that many signings if Liverpool win the Premier League. I think Klopp will revert back to type and we'll just have these same players just keep going and going and going again, until they break down again. But of course, we'd have to wait and see. That's more of a pipe dream, so to speak. So for that, I'll give it like a 2. I'll give it a 2. I just don't really see that happening. But let's run through again. So we had obviously Arsenal. I think I gave that a 7. Chelsea, I think I gave that was it a 5, 6? Can't remember, but I'll give it like a 5 or 6. Manchester United, I'll give that a 5. Tottenham, I'll give that an 8. And Liverpool, I would give that a 2. Let me know in the comment section what you would give in terms of likelihood of him ever joining those kind of clubs. Is it a good deal for those clubs? Is it a good option? Where would he fit in? If you're a fan of any of these other teams that I've just spoken about, where would he fit, in your team? Let me know exactly what you guys think in the comment section down below. And that's today's video done and dusted. Taking a look at Ivan Toney. What is the best move? As I mentioned before, make sure you smash a like, make sure you share, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comment section below where you would put my Ivan Toney. If you were Ivan Toney, which club would you go to? I'm G. We're out, baby.